You're listening to Whispers of War.
Hello everyone and welcome to Whispers of War, show 46. I'm your host Sil. Let's jump into how was my weekend. Wow, it's been a quiet week because unfortunately I was not really around. I was away for work and I don't have a gaming laptop that I can take with me so I can still play in the evenings. So I was really limited to I guess Harry Potter or Wizards Unite. And Pokemon Go, and a little bit of the missions I could do on the app for World of Warcraft, and that was really it. So yeah, not much WoW time. I did manage to do a little bit when I came home on the Thursday evening, and then a little bit on Friday and the weekend, but nothing that I'm like, oh my god, I did so much. So things that I have been doing is of course the rep grind. At least I don't have to do the Anko one anymore because I managed to do that right before I had to leave for my work. So I actually managed to grind out that rep and I am now revered with them. I will probably try and do push until exalted until I have my flying, but for now that's something I'm not really focusing on. I'm revered now, so why should I invest even more time to reach exalted when I should really be focusing on getting revered with the Rust Bolt resistance. So that's where I went next, and I've been doing the dailies there. And I actually today, after I talked to Marty from the Blue Recluse, I actually looked around the island and I found more quests, so his tips really helped, and I am on 1/3 towards revered. So I'm hoping that maybe by the end of this week, if I really push myself, I might be able to reach exalted, and that would be really great because I just really want to play my Alliance Rogue, if I'm honest. I miss playing her. I love Rogue, and as much as I like my Blood Elf, I'm just very, very lonely on the Horde side, and that sounds so pathetic and sad, but it's still not really a great thing to run around without a guild, and I just haven't found any guilds that I really like. I should really make that my goal as well this week to, I think I'm going to try and find a guild for my Blood Elf Rogue. Probably also a few for my other characters on the Horde side, just because I don't, it's nice to see some green chat, if I'm honest. And then I'll just level my my Alliance Rogue as well, because I think Rogue is the class now for me. And that leads me to all the other classes, because I did manage to make some alts, because, oh my god, I know they're Horde side, but I love the Nightborn. I really love their customization. I love how they run and everything, and how they cast spells, and yeah, I really do enjoy playing that race. So I kind of made a Nightborn mage because I couldn't help myself, even though I have like 5 mages already or something. It's a dangerous thing having the possibility of having 50 alts on one server. So yeah, I'm never going to get anything up to 120 anymore. I should have a system for this, really. But considering that Classic is, well, almost like a month away now, I just can't see it happening, if I'm honest. I can't see myself leveling all of my alts before that time. I'm just hoping that I will get flying and I will get my rogue up and find guilds for all my characters. That would be perfect on the Horde side, because on Alliance I already have a guild. Yeah, so that's really been it. Also been watching a lot of YouTubes. I mean, you have to do something when you're away in the evenings, right? So I've been watching a lot of YouTubes about picking your class for WoW Classic, because I really thought I had it figured out. I thought, you know what, no, I'm going to play Rogue or Druid. I'm going to play Rogue because I really like the DPS, and I want to try what Rogue is like back in the day. I want to PvP, so, ganking is part of that. And as a rogue, I have to admit, in the past I had a lot of fun with it. I am that player that everyone hates, I guess. And then I thought to myself, yeah, but druids, you know, you see so many of what classes to pick for classic videos, and then you see other things, and I saw druids, and I did like being able to change form so quickly and just utilizing all the abilities that you have. It's just you have a shit ton as a druid. But it is a lot of fun in battlegrounds. I used to love flag carrying, so that was also one of those things. And then I also heard that mages are really, really a lot of fun in Classic. I never really played a mage in Classic, not until Burning Crusade came out. That's when I started playing a mage. So yeah, I'm really, really conflicted now with what I want to do. I am still 50-50 on the rogue and a druid, just because stealth, and I think on a PvP server that's very, very useful. Even if you, not just for ganking, but if you want to avoid conflict, you can at least be, you know, stealthed. You can skip a lot of mobs, things like that. And I think rogue and druid both have their pros and cons. I mean, I like the shapeshifting that druids have. I like it that you can self-heal. Rogues, I like it that you can pick locks and get lock boxes, but the you know, stealth is very slow. And I think that's the same for druids. I think druids and stealth are a bit slower as well. So I just don't know. I don't know which one to pick. I think the druid is more like a comforting thing, because I used to play that for donkeys in the years before I switched to rogue properly. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and the fun one is Hunter actually also looks like a lot of fun, because I kind of forgot in the past about the pet managing thing, that you actually have to go out in the world and try to tame these pets that have certain abilities so that you can learn them and teach them to the pet that you want to use. But there's also a lot of micromanagement with that, if you want to play it really, really well. So yes, I don't know really. I'm, like I said, 50-50 still on druid and rogue, but I have a suspicion I'll probably go with rogue. They might not go really fast, but they do some good DPS output. The only thing that worries me is that there's going to be a lot of competition for gear, especially with warriors and other rogues, because everyone wants to play a rogue. And druids don't really have that. You only really compete with rogues if you're feral. And, you know, let's face it, intellect gear on leather, yeah, that hardly happens. So there's not a lot of competition with that. And I want Will of Arlok again, because I used to love that stuff. Who doesn't like to have, you know, a snake? So yeah, I'm really, really like wondering what to do. But I have a month to figure it out. And isn't it soon that we can start, you know, reserving our characters anyway? So might have to look into that. I also have to check on which server my guild is going to be, even though some of them have said that they are going to play Horde now. That's going to be interesting. I'll go with the majority, but I thought I was going to go Alliance. But maybe I have to go Horde again. I don't know. So as you guys know, I switch factions constantly. I'm not like, I can't really say I am definite Horde or I'm definite Alliance. Even though at the moment my preference still is my Horde characters, because trolls. So yeah, that's really it. And while I'll struggle with that contemplating part of the game, I will leave you with an interview. Well, not really an interview, because, you know, you have heard him many a times on the podcast before. I talked to Marty from the Blue Recluse and from the Dragon Powered Studio. And we were going to talk a little bit about life in WoW, him returning to WoW, and yeah, just general things. And of course 8.2, because it's a big patch, and like I said in the previous tweets, I think it's important that a lot of people voice their opinions about it, just because, you know, I don't know if we're going to get more patches. I'm going to assume so, because we still haven't got new Worgen and Goblin models. But I don't know if we're going to get a really big patch again. And yeah, I'm quite curious what people find or dislike and like about 8.2 really. So that is why. So I'll leave you with the interview with Marty, and I will see you on the flip side. And with me today, I'm being joined by a very, very valued member of the Dragon Powered Studio. Welcome back, Marty.
Hello, I'm back. It's me again.
Well, you need to do 20 shows, so, you know, we have to get you back regularly.
So 20 shows, been here twice, so that's 18 to go. Is that how it works?
Something like that, I believe so. Right, Marty, how have you been?
Pretty good. Stuff happened, and I started playing World of Warcraft again. 8.2 out. I know you have talked a little bit about it, but I mean, we can talk a little bit more, right?
Well, yeah, because especially if it brings you back to the game, I want to know how you're experiencing that. So for those who don't know about you and Dragon Powered Studios, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Marty, and I'm part of Dragon Powered Studio, and what we try to do, we're basically we're just making a lot of podcasts working together and make great content, just like this podcast that you're also part of Dragon Powered Studio. But originally I started out doing the Blue Recluse podcast, which is on pause right now. So yeah, I've been podcasting for 5 years, and I don't have an outlet right now, so every time I have the chance, I'll jump on here and help you out.
I love it. I'm really grateful for that, because it's always lovely to talk to you anyway. So, I'll grab that chance with both hands.
Yeah, I invite myself these days, basically.
You know what? I think you should. So, you know what? It's Saturday or Sunday. Are you doing a show?
I'm there.
So, Marty, now that you've jumped back into WoW, what are you playing? What is your main character nowadays?
Before we jump into all that, can I bring something up? I know it's not Blizzard, I know it's not World of Warcraft, but I will switch into Blizzard related a little bit further down the line. But I know you play WoW-zards Unite, the Harry Potter Pokemon game, right?
Yes.
How do you like that game?
I'm getting a bit frustrated that my inventory gets really full and I have to start deleting things because I refuse to pay money for anything. That's
I know that.
Person in me. I'm just too cheap to put down money for anything. I did that with Pokeballs in the past. I'm not doing that anymore.
No.
I'm enjoying it, but I find it a little bit frustrating that I actually have to go outside to get to like these greenhouses, and I'm like, I just want to play it from my bed. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, I guess that's the issue with these kind of games. You kind of have to move about a bit. But no, I actually quite enjoyed it. I also played Pokemon. But the thing is that I've never really been... I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I'm a little bit too old for that. It was big when I was just not interested in it at that point. But I played the game and now I jumped on board Harry Potter. Harry Potter is also something I've never read the books. I've seen the movies. I like the universe. And I'm enjoying this game. I think you can see that they've learned a lot from Pokemon. I still think there's a few things that the game is missing, but I'm overall really enjoying it. But I'm just not into the Harry Potter universe that much.
That's because you need to read the books.
Maybe. But my thoughts were that, hey, wasn't there some rumors that Blizzard was working on a Pokemon-ish type of mobile game as well? Imagine them bringing out, I don't know, pit battle, mobile pit battle, whatever, something along those lines.
Can you imagine if that would work with the stuff with the pets that you have in game, that it would link?
Yeah, that's the big discussion point that we could probably do a whole show on, because I know other people have talked about it as well, that they want it to be linked to the in-game. I'm more like, yeah, sure, it would be cool if it does, but doesn't necessarily have to. But just, a World of Warcraft or Blizzard universe Pokemon type mobile game, I would so jump on that, I think.
Yeah, me too. I would love that. And, I don't care that it's a mobile game. I would still play it. Because I do have a phone, so,
Yeah. So it was just, I knew you were playing WoW-zards Unite as well. And I was like, I like the game, the gameplay itself, but I don't really care that much for the world. But imagine if I did, and World of Warcraft was, the first game that I went to. I was like, hey, what if they actually did that? There has been rumors about it. I would play that game all the time.
Yeah, me too. Because I've made that switch really from Pokemon Go to WoW-zards Unite. if there's a World of Warcraft game, that would be it for me then. I would be playing that all the time.
Yeah. And just a curious question as well. Have you tried going back to Pokemon now? Because I did, and I was like, oh my god, this game actually doesn't look that great anymore. Now that I'm playing.
You know what? I did as well. And the thing is, I don't know if it's just because of the game, but I find less Pokemon to capture than I do with the foundables in Unite. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to, because with Pokemon Go, I really get the feeling I need to go and outside and walk. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Just
not today. Not today either.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I agree. Seeing how far the game has come, because it's basically the same principle. It's now I'm sure that Blizzard could do something like that. So I think they really should jump on board with that. But I don't know if they're a bit hesitant with the whole, backlash they've had with mobile gaming.
I don't think they should be. I understand. I think what Blizzard missed back then was that people were not really upset about and not that there being a Diablo mobile game, but people were upset about that being the main, announcement that they had. And there was no. I mean, it's easy to stand here. Everything has happened now and be very smart about everything. But I think if they had added just by the way, after they announced the mobile game, here's a Diablo 4 logo, that would have been it. That would have been enough. People would have been at least a little bit more satisfied, I think. Yeah.
No, I agree. I really think that would have been better. Also because, well, we can talk a little bit about Diablo. I don't know if you've played it, but for me, I was a little bit like, is this how the story ends? It felt very unfinished for me, and I was left with a lot of questions, and I felt like Reaper of Souls for me was really short in the amount of story, and it just didn't feel like it was finished properly, and I thought, well, that's a bit of an anticlimactic storyline.
Yeah, the game is not, I don't think the game is finished, but they never made another expansion because that got cancelled. They didn't believe in the game because of how that rocky launch that it had. The original game, the rocky launch that it had, there was a lot of problem with it, and they fixed a lot of pretty much everything with the expansion that came out. But before that expansion actually came out, they cancelled everything after that. So they didn't actually believe in it, and I think they should have, because Reaper of Souls really fixed a lot of things and made it a really enjoyable game, and I think a lot of people would have loved to see another expansion for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I'm putting my hopes into BlizzCon this year. I mean, we can talk a little bit about that. Are you? Do you have any high expectations for BlizzCon 2019?
That's dangerous, I feel like.
Come on, we like to live dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I feel like, the thing is that even last year, the developers said at BlizzCon 2018, they said, look forward to BlizzCon 2019. So I do feel like there's the potential for a lot of announcements. I mean, even if you look at this year, there's no new things from the Blizzard universe. Sure, we'll get Classic. But let's be frank, it's not a new thing. It's cool that they're doing it, but it's nothing new for any of the franchises. Then we'll get Warcraft 3 remastered or reforged or whatever it's called. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I love Warcraft 3 and I'm looking forward. And I think they've done such a good job with the other remasters that I'm really looking forward to this. But again, it's nothing new. So I feel like there's a potential for a lot of new announcements this year for pretty much all of their franchises. Maybe bar StarCraft.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just, like I said, last year was the first BlizzCon I actually didn't even buy a ticket for in the digital ticket, because I just wasn't that interested in some of the stuff that I've heard, and I thought, no, I just leave it. The fact that it always falls on my birthday now makes it even more awkward, because I'm never really around. So yeah, I just don't tend to watch. I think this year I will, even if I have to watch it later. So I'm setting myself up for high expectations. So I hope they'll be met. All right.
Yeah, but no, I think that. Sorry.
What did you want to say about more about BlizzCon?
No, I just think that I think there will be a lot of stuff. There's a potential for new World Warcraft expansion. I definitely think we'll hear something about Diablo, and I mean Diablo Immortal. Where is that game at? We'll definitely hear more about that. I think so. Even Overwatch, there's a lot of rumors about maybe something new coming there. So I mean, I think there's plenty for the next BlizzCon, and even they do say that they're working. They have never had so many things in development, and so that means that there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about. So I think it will be an interesting BlizzCon.
Yeah, I reckon so. At least I hope so, because last year was a little bit disappointing for me, but it can only get better then from that point of view.
Exactly.
I hope. Right, I am going to ask you about your main character now.
Okay, do it.
So Marty, now that you're back in 8.2, are you still, because I remember that you played a priest, didn't you?
Yes.
Are you still sticking with the priest?
I am still sticking with the priest. I did do a little switch to paladin just for a while, just because I wanted something else, and so I basically used the paladin, geared it up because it was possible with the new benthic gear from Nashitar. So geared it up fairly quickly and just got going and farmed my rep so I could get flying with that. But I am now back on my priest because I don't know. It's just my character. I feel like priest is just where I belong. It's where I always return to.
That's not a bad thing. I have that with certain characters that I always tend to come back to them eventually. So how are you finding 8.2? Because you already said a little bit, that you can easily get the gear upgrades now. How are you experiencing 8.2?
I feel like it's two of the best zones added to the game. I feel like I jumped into Nashitar first, and I think a lot of people actually start out saying that, oh, that zone is so cool. And I mean, it feels dangerous. It's not like you can just, round up all the mobs and just, AoE them down. They actually have a good chunk of health and stuff, and they do some damage to you and stuff like that. So it feels dangerous. It feels fresh and new. And I mean, if you're into the lore as well, you would have a field day in Nashitar. There's so many things all around, and there's the area from the cinematic with Ashara, and there's so many things. It's basically, an area that used to be where Warcraft started, right? It's all the way from back in the day. So it's an amazing zone. Really, really enjoyed it so far.
Good. And I saw on Twitter that you already posted that you can fly. So you've done that really quickly.
Yeah, and I actually also I was away for 5 days, for 5 days as well. So I don't know how I managed to do it that quickly. But I mean, I guess the old raider in me, the old min-maxer is still working somewhere.
Do you have any tips for people who are trying to still get flying? If we just go by the rep grind, because I think that's the most tedious one.
It is. I would say do it in your own tempo. Don't stress about it too much, because if you just go ham on it, and I mean it is a chance that you'll burn yourself out if you're not really hardcore into it. So just relax, take it easy. You'll get it eventually. But I do want to say I've used Wowhead a lot because in Mechagon. The other zone, the Gnome zone, there's so many possibilities to get rep with that faction, and some of that is a little bit hidden away, and it changes every day, and we'll get into that a little bit later. This is why I probably love Mechagon a bit more, because there's so many different things, and Wowhead just has an everyday guide. This is what's happening today. So to help you out. So yeah, really cool.
That's actually a really good tip, because I just Mechagon, I left that because I just wanted to go into Nashitar and do everything in a farm, not doing both at the same time, because that will drive me bonkers. And now I'm at the Mechagon thing, and I'm only like 10% in, and Yeah, that's interesting that there are hidden things there, because at a certain point I thought, is this it? Like, I get 5 quests and that's it?
Yeah, and that's why I both love and hate, love more than I hate Mechagon. I really think when I jumped into it in the beginning, I was like, oh, Nashita is so much better. But then, it just gets better for every day because there's so many secret things hidden around. There's even, I don't know if you've been into it, there's an alternative timeline as well, which Chromie will send you to eventually when you get to that, and then you will be able to build your own little device so you can switch between the two timelines, and sometimes there's like daily quests in there as well. So I mean, there's so many things all around. There's the tinkering, because you can there's so many recipes. For the tinkering robot that you can unlock by doing different things and stuff like that. So yeah, it's I don't know. It amazed me that zone when I actually got further into it. There's so many things to do, and even after I've unlocked flying now, and I still feel like going back to Mechagon, because there's still all the rares that you can farm, and there's just so many things to do, and I just love that zone. It's amazing.
That's really good to hear. What was your favorite part of each zone, if you have to pick?
Oh, I think Nashita is definitely the story, because that is basically why I play the game. I enjoy all aspects of the game, but I mean the story is basically it, right? So just going to Nashita, figuring out why we are there, and I feel like we were all the way through. At least I all the way through had this feeling that, hey, it feels a little bit weird. It's sort of like Ashara is inviting us here, and I don't know if you've looked into the raid and what's happening in the story, but yeah, it's a little bit weird. It feels like we're invited here, and why would she do that sort of feeling? And I love it.
No, I think the story progression is really good in that zone, also because it's I felt like it was a little bit gated, so you can do everything at once, and it's a little bit of time that you have to get through. And I think all the mounts that you can get in the zones are pretty interesting as well, that it's not so straightforward with some of the things on how to get them.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Even just there was like a storyline that progresses every day in Mechagon as well, and just by doing that, I mean, obviously you'll just do it maybe just to get the web done, but eventually you actually get a mount from that just by doing it. So yeah, keep up with the daily progression in there as well, because who doesn't like basically a free mount?
Exactly.
It's a cool one. It's a cool spiderish mount, mecha spider. It's so cool.
That is, yeah, I've heard people talk about that. That I didn't know it was for all of like story progression. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Is there something that you did not like with 8.2 being launched?
So far, there's not too much, I think. I mean, I think it's more like the min-maxer in me was a little bit like, oh crap, I have missed out on some stuff, because some of it is a little bit more hidden away, and stuff like that. But I mean, and that's it. That it's small things. It's like that. But Mechagon does have a heavy impact on your backspace, though. I think that's probably the biggest complaint that I've seen as well. So, and I think. I'm missing actually being in a proper guild at the moment, because my old trading guild moved to Hordside and stuff like that. So I'm not really with them at the moment. So I feel like I really feel like raiding at the moment, and I feel like doing the mythic, because Mechagon also has a mythic dungeon attached to it that I haven't tried yet, and stuff like that is a little bit harder for me to get into, because I'm not really. I'm a little bit anxious about going into pugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, in all fairness, because I don't think you ever know what you're going to get with a pug. I mean, you could get lovely people, but on the other hand, you could get the complete opposite. And in respects to that, I don't know if you're one of those people who turns like trade chat off in general immediately once they get into game. I never do, just because I find it very easy to just ignore it. But because I had it on, I did notice that the community I wouldn't say has switched completely, but when you are in Najatar or in Mechacom, it feels, for me personally, that the community is much more communicative, is that a word, to each other, to say, oh, there's a rare here, there's an event starting. Yes. Have you noticed a little bit of a shift in that?
Yeah, I totally have, and I really feel like it feels like, you know, the Timeless Isle back in those days, where it was the same thing with rares, and I actually wrote here in my own little show notes that Mechagon feels like an updated version of Timeless Isle. I feel that's a pretty good comparison to make, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that you know, people actually. I know it's not like full-on conversations that we had back as like really old school vanilla players remember, but it's at least a start to know, you know, oh hey guys, come over here, I mean, let's help each other out, sort of thing. So I really enjoy that, even though a lot of it's probably just add-ons telling you that doesn't a rare, but still, I mean, it makes the zone feel so much more alive. I feel like.
Yeah, and I think people don't get offended if people are helping out with tagging mobs and just, you know, making things go, you know, to die quicker, basically. It all seems very easygoing so far. I think the only time I've ever had an issue with a quest was when, was it the kidnapped gnomes or something by some flying bots, and you had to like stand underneath them to catch them. That's the only time when I noticed that people were a little bit like, no, I'm standing here now, go away.
And also because I had a few people who also were not happy with me catching some of what they perceived their gnomes falling. But the thing is, and we've tested this, is that whoever tags it first or something like that actually gets it. So if I tag it and both you and I run to it, I'm the one getting it, even though you're jumping higher up or something like that to try and catch it before me. If I pissed someone off out there, I'm sorry, but I tagged it before you, so that's why I got it.
It's game mechanics, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people be a bit snarky about that. I'm like, well, I can't help it if I stand in this circle and it falls on me and I get the credit for it. That how, you know, I was supposed to stand there. So, but yeah, some people get a bit snarky. I think that's the only really negative thing I've noticed so far, or the amount of time that it takes to kill a rare, because that just goes so quick. Yeah. One thing that I really enjoyed as well, that I forgot about in Nashita is, well, not just in Nashita, but in 8.2 is there's a much more, there's not so, when it comes to the gear that you can get, or even the new essences for your neck, that's a very clear progression of how you get it. For instance, let's take the benthic gear, for instance. You as a player, you decide, oh, I can, as with my paladin, for instance, who was poorly geared, I was like, oh, okay, I can get 385, a full 385 gear, and then I can, you know, just upgrade whatever I want to. But I can also be like on my priest, who has a fairly good gear. I can be like, all right, I could focus on this one or two pieces and then just upgrade them up. So that's a very clear progression. That's not a lot of RNG, as Blizzard has had a love for the past few expansions. And even with the essences for your neck, the new abilities, you can see on the UI, okay, if I want this ability, then I need to go do some PvP, or I need to go over here and do this and stuff like that. So that's a very clear question. You might not enjoy the activity you need to do to get it, but it's very clear where you're getting it from. So it's not like, you know, the legendaries from the past expansion where you're like, oh, they can drop anywhere. You just need to do everything. You can actually target whatever you want. And I think that's the way to go. I didn't like the RNG nature of the legendaries, because I got my best ones last. So yeah.
I really feel like this is the way forward, and it works.
Well, we even got it a little bit with the Timeless Owl, didn't we? When you got gear upgrades for that it was, I think it was still like tied to like the type of armor, so you had cloth, leather, and all that, and that doesn't seem to be like that at the moment.
No.
And it was also very random because it just dropped off mobs or something. And now you can actually see on like your world quests, oh, this will actually give you this. And then of course there's chests and things like that. But yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier to re-gear.
Yeah, I think you can get it from everywhere. It can be drops, it can be in world quests, but the thing is, you can also just target it. You can buy them from the same that you need to upgrade them with. So if you're lacking braces and you have everything else, you just go there and buy the braces and start upgrading it. So yeah, it's a very clear progression, and I think that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think it has also something to do with giving people the option to catch up now and switch mains, just in case they're like, well, I haven't been around for like a while now to play this game. I made it to 120. This is not really the class for me. I'd rather play something else. Now at least I have the gear so I can jump into all these dungeons or the raids, or do you think that was the reason behind it, or?
That's a good question. I mean, it is clearly a catch-up mechanic as well for people who have been away or people who want to switch. So, I mean, yeah, sure, there's definitely a nature of catch-up. But I mean, they've done that every expansion. Last expansion was, how was it? It was a little bit more RNG, though, wasn't it? How you got the gear? It wasn't as a clear progression as this one, and I don't know. I just really enjoy this way more because I can put all my time. They're respecting my time. If I only have like an hour or two every night, I can say, all right, I'll focus on this specific gear piece and I'll work my way towards it, and I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything specific that you wanted to say about 8.2?
No, it's just the two. I really enjoyed the two zones. I was really surprised about how great they were. I mean, I feel like what this expansion lacked was, in Legion we had I don't even remember the zone anymore. We had the max level zone.
Was it Argus?
No, not Argus. The one with wolves. Soramar. We had like Soramar in the beginning, max level zone. After you got to max level, you could start venturing into that, and there's a lot of stuff going on in there. And we didn't really have that, max level zone this time around, and we haven't gotten that until now. And I just feel like these two zones, they are so amazing, and I wish that they said, well, take these two zones that they created as templates to how they're going to do zones in the future. There's so much stuff going on in them, and sometimes you just stumble upon it, and I think that's the cool thing, right? That's what you want in an MMO. You want to be exploring, and all of a sudden, oh, something is going on over here. What is that? Let's join in on that. And sometimes, you without knowing, you get this great reward that you didn't expect, and that's how it should be, right? It's fun, it's explorative, it's how it should be.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if anything that BFA has given us, it's the want to explore areas again. I really, really enjoy that, and just seeing all these events come together, and that, like for instance with Mechagon, like you have to really run or swim if you don't have water walking out to like the furthest islands, because there's more stuff going on.
I want to say something that I completely forgot until like a week ago.
Yeah.
And that is that, hey, during this expansion, I actually got a water mount.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could use it in these zones. It's perfect. Why haven't I thought about that? So now every time I just need to go down just a small pond. I mount up on that water mount, because now it's the time to use it.
Which water mount did you get?
It's a greater stingray or something like that. I remember that I got it like, I think it was from fishing fairly early on in the expansion, and I was unsure if I should try to sell it to get some gold or if I should keep it, and I ended up keeping it, because apparently they are not that rare if you just fish a little bit. So at least not back then. I don't know if it was an error or bug or something. But anyway, I got it, and I was like, I completely forgot that I had it, because how often do you actually go into water zones and stuff like that? So it was not until I saw someone else swim by me on one of his mounts. I was like, hey, I have one of those mounts as well. This would be the perfect place to actually use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, how do you feel about the whole that you have, for instance, water walking from mounts now, and that you can have? I have not really discovered any of those other things that you could use from mounts, but that there are.
Do you actually want anything else?
No, I'm happy with my water walking. You know what? It makes life so much easier. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I can use my normal mounts. And no, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a good change. Obviously, I don't think there's too many people who will use the actual water mount anymore, because I don't know. I never really liked the look of it. I feel like there's so many other cooler mounts that I would rather use. But it also feels a little bit weird if you're, for instance, a Death Knight, because Path of Frost is not really that unique anymore. But I don't know. Overall, my priest likes it, really loves it. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm not against it. My only question is what other items can you actually equip there that you would want to equip? And that's my big question that I want to see what they'll come up with.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can remember, for instance, back in vanilla, when you had the carrot on a stick.
Oh yes.
So that your mount would run a little bit, and it was like a fraction, but it still made you feel like Billy Big Balls. You know, when you were like, oh, look at me, we're all running towards something. Look at me, just going a little bit faster.
But if you're a blacksmith, you can actually make items that make you go faster. And if you can sell them as well. So I think everyone can buy them. But if you're a blacksmith, then they quadruple the amount. So I think I have like an 8-hour buff on my paladin, so I actually go faster. So I don't know why shouldn't they have been made into this mount equipment or something like that instead of being a buff. I don't know, but. So yeah, basically you can have both at the moment.
Yeah, very true. I think the only thing that I have not really looked into at all, because it has just not interested me at all anymore since I think probably Mists is professions. I don't know if you've heard anything about the profession overhaul, maybe in 8.2, or if it's still not that interesting. Or
the thing is that I haven't really gotten my professions up that high, so I could actually look into it. I feel like, especially for someone who is on and off the game, like I've been this expansion, I feel like leveling professions is really difficult. It takes a lot of time, especially on my priest, because I'm an enchanter and tailor, because those usually went really well together. But in this expansion, we also have the scrapping mechanic, and so I have to basically say, all right now I'll level tailoring, because then I would actually want to, instead of disenchanting all, the gear that I created for tailoring, I would actually have to scrap it instead to get the expulsum, I think it's called, that material, because you only get that from scrapping. And I feel like that's a big mistake that they made. I feel like we should have gotten that from maybe disenchanting as well, because I basically have to focus on, do I want to disenchant stuff or do I want to scrap stuff at the moment, and that sucks very, very much for me.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I think it's even with some people, like for myself, I just throw it all in there and I'm like, actually I could put some stuff on the auction house. I guess that wasn't bound to my character, but you're just like, I just scrap it. And
I would really love that some of all those bound to pick up stuff from crafting would be bound on account instead. I mean, I can understand why there's some materials you don't want to, be able to put up on auction houses and stuff like that. But couldn't you at least make it bound to account so you could, just to show a little bit of alt love?
Yeah, exactly. Because God knows we have a lot of alts. At least a lot of people I know have a lot of alts. I'm sure there's still that rare person here and there that only has one character, and
right, Tom?
Yeah, I absolutely you have my utmost respect, because that will be something I will never be able to do.
No, me neither. Me neither. I'm already sitting here thinking about. So now I've got flying. Which class should I level next?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why I want flying, just so I can level my alts easier. That's really it.
Yeah. So do you have the Nashita rep? So you just need to make a
Yes,
gun rep? Is
it's
that how it
just
is? Okay.
for me.
Yeah, I would definitely, look into Wowhead every day and see what's the today's things going on, because I feel like, because I did them simultaneously, and I was revered with Nashita before I was with. No, sorry, I was revered with Mechagon before I was with Nashita. So Mechagon is definitely quicker to do. I feel like.
That's definitely something I need to look into. That's a really, really good tip for anyone who's still struggling with those. Yeah, I'll check that out. The one thing I still want to talk about, now that we're talking a little bit about mounts and everything in 8.2, now there's been a bit of a controversy in the community, to say the least, regarding...
What did you now?
Let's put this straight. I love XL, and you know what? I'm just... I don't like it when I see people being targeted by it. I think people are allowed to have their opinions, but I don't think that a community as a whole should, just because someone says something, and I think I can say it. I don't mind Asmongold as a person at all, but I'm not a big fan of some of the people. Not all of them, because there are some people I know that are lovely, but some people in every community that we have just take it too far and see everything as a personal attack. And then, I never think it's good as a collective group to go to someone else. It could be Taliesin, it could be Asmongold, it could be Preach, it could be us. I don't think it's good that a whole group of people just lashes out on the internet to someone and basically starts bullying and harassing people. I think that's not how we should be as a gamer community, because you hear too many awful stories, and in all fact we all should just come together and like or criticize the thing that we are so passionate about. So I don't. It's just really awful this period, seeing all of that.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I feel like, because I've been following it fairly closely, and I feel like there was mistakes made on both sides. So it's if only people would just take a breather, and then I think everything would have been much nicer.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think the community, that everyone involved, and not so much the content creators, but I think the community, which eventually is also like you and me, because I don't consider myself like a big time podcaster out there. I feel like we kind of owe it to have and make this community better than it is at times, and not try to feed on hate and upset people. I don't see the reason for that. You can have your opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that, and having an outspoken opinion, but I draw the line where it comes to bullying and harassing and just saying things that you would never say to a person to their face. Yep. So that's for me personally where I draw the line. But yeah, there was a lot of controversy with this patch, and whether people like it or not. And then there was that 6-month mount. I'll be honest, I was one of those people who saw it and I'm a consumer whore, and I'm quite proud of that. And I thought, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to get this now, because I just had renewed my, I think it was 1 or 2 months in for my 6 months, because I do that automatically. And I thought, I'm not risking that, because that dragon looks freaking amazing and I want it. And I'm going to play this game anyway in another 6 months. So I'm just buying another 6 months. And then of course later on I found out, no, you'll get it eventually anyway, like with the Dreadwake. But yeah, a lot of people don't like it that Blizzard does that, and I've seen people who spit on others in the game just because they have that mount, and I'm a little bit like, dude, it's not hurting you as a person. Why would you shit on someone's, someone who's happy with that? And I'm still riding around on that dragon. I don't give a flying fuck, I'm like, hey, I love it. So if you feel the need to type out spit or have that as a macro, go ahead. It's not hurting me. But I just...
No, and the thing is, it's just a negative emotion, and it actually impacts the sender more than the receiver, I feel like. So it's just so useless. It's not worth spending that energy on. And if you want to do it, then at least direct it to the right people. Then direct it against Blizzard. Not to, again, don't be hateful or anything, but voice your opinion on the forums or whatever, and say, hey, we don't like this. I don't think too much will happen, because after all, it is a company and people will be buying this. But still, don't. It's not other people's fault.
No, and I know that some people will say, yeah, but you keep it active if you do that or you buy it, and I'm like, that might be so, but it's nothing that will. It's not like in some games where you pay to win. In my it's not going to change the gameplay completely. And yeah, does it give people who have money and have an income from themselves or have disposable income a little bit of an advantage maybe if you collect mounts? Yes, absolutely. I do feel like there's a difference there. But, for some people, just to put it really clear, some people like to go out every weekend, spend loads of money to get absolutely wasted. And that's how they spend that money. And I'm not going to well, you could have, that's on them if they want to do all of that. But if I like to spend my money on transmog items or mounts or pets or whatever it is, then that's my choice, really.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do agree that also that I do feel like it would be nice if probably it wasn't that you weren't able to buy them, that you needed to do stuff in game, but it's not something that I'm extremely mad about. I think I have pretty much every store mount except maybe 2 or 3 of them, so I'll buy them too. But I don't know. I do feel like it would be more nicer, since we already are paying a subscription and full price for the games and stuff like that this wasn't there. But I'm not losing my sleep over it.
No, I was even one of those people that back in the day, I think it was Kata, wasn't it, when there was a real dip in subscribers, and they did the whole, if you subscribe for 12 months, you get the Tyrael Charger, you get Diablo, you get this and that, and I was just like, yep, sign me up, I don't care. And I was really proud of that mount.
Yeah, and there was no doubt about it. That those 12 months, and you got a game on top of that, and that was value for money. It would make, and you got a huge discount on the overall subscription as well, because obviously you pay bulk. So yeah, right. If you had the money, it would be stupid not to do that.
Exactly. If you know that you're going to be, how many times haven't we had games? I've had that with, I think it was Elder Scrolls and other MMOs that I played it. And then, World of Warcraft got my attention again. And I was still paying for the other MMO without actually going wait, I'm still paying for that, aren't I? So, I think a lot of us do that anyway. And it's, you have a Starbucks coffee less a week. I don't understand. I don't understand that there's so much anger in the community about it. Like I said, you're free to have your opinions. I just think it's a shame that as a community, we seem to be so divided. And if you're not agreeing with one party, you are immediately in the wrong. And people will have to say awful things to you because you just share a different opinion. I think it's sad. I think it's really sad that we have such a divide at the moment.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yes, and I just want for everyone to be call me a hippie, but I guess it's also because I play a druid on the Alliance. I just want everyone to be happy and just enjoy. Or if you don't enjoy the game, then there's plenty of other stuff you could do. There are other games out there. There's things that you can do in the real world. I know it's very scary, but you could do stuff there. So
play Wizards Unite.
Exactly, play Wizards Unite. You don't have to worry. At least if you don't want to buy anything there, I don't, because I'm not a consumer whore in that game.
No, me neither. Works out fine.
Exactly. Marty, was there anything else you would like to say about 8.2 before we finish up our interview?
I don't think so. I just really enjoyed those 2 zones and not having an outlet. I was like, what can I do? I want to talk about it. And I was like, oh, still doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk her.
And if you have that in like several weeks again, we can do that again.
Yeah, maybe when we've gotten a little bit further into the looking for raid, because I think that's the only place I'm going to get to raid this dungeon, and maybe I'll manage to get into Operation Mechagon as well, and then I'll come back and tell you all about it.
That would be really nice, because I can't even see myself doing much of that at the moment. So yeah, I would love to. Okay, Marty, where can people find you and everything that you do on the interwebs?
You can probably, I would say, go to dragonpoweredstudio.com. That's where you can find everything we do over there. And we just got a new website, Sil, and you featured on it. Just out there as well. I think that's the easiest. There should even be links to my Twitter if you want to follow me personally. Or maybe it's not up there yet, but it will be soon. There's a lot of stuff going on that website. So yeah, go over there, check it out, and check out some of all the other cool shows that we work together.
Absolutely, and it's such a lovely network of people. So definitely lots to listen to, especially on the Warcraft front. I think people are not short of anything there. Okay, well, Marty, thank you so much for being a guest again.
You're welcome. And before we end completely, can I quickly do a shout out to something I have nothing to do with?
Of course.
I'm not involved in this at all. It's just so amazing. And I know you feel the same. Azeroth Public Radio. It's a new podcast from Coltrane, who used to be podcasting on another podcast that I don't remember the name of right now, but that he's basically one of the reasons why I started podcasting. I remember that he talked about, if you want to do it, podcast is for everyone. Just jump in there, just try it out. And he's such a cool person. You just follow him on Twitter as well. He's so funny, and he's been away from the podcasting scene and now came back with basically the show that I would love to have been the maker of, but it's fine. He did it first, and it's amazing. Check it out. It's so good.
It is absolutely amazing, and I just love Coltrane's voice. It is so good. So no, absolutely, you need to listen to that podcast. It's amazing. It made my commute a lot better. It's very entertaining.
It's so entertaining, and it's so annoying because I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to do podcasting wise, and I had like 3-4 different genres and ideas, and he basically took all of them, mashed them together to one podcast, and I was like, why didn't I think about that?
Well, who knows? I think there's always room for similar podcasts out there. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many World of Warcraft podcasts.
Exactly.
All right, Marty, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview. It was so great talking to Marty again. And like I said, we have about 18 more shows to do, which is actually going to be a tight squeeze, I think, for this year. Because I thought, you know what? Nothing for the men who've been on as guests on my podcast, because, I love you guys. You've been great guests. But I wanted to hear some more female representation from the community because, well, you guys were all hiding, and I know you're out there because I have been in contact with a lot of you. So I thought, you know what, it's Friday, let's just post this up and see what happens. And I don't know if something is happening in the community, but my God, I've been getting so many messages from female listeners or female players who hopefully in the future will become listeners. I don't know, but it's really, really cool to actually get so many girls out there who say, you know what, I'm a guild leader, I've been raiding, I'm a raid leader, I've done this and this in game, I've been playing for a very long time, I'm really passionate, I'm a blogger, and I'm just like, yeah, come on the show, because I would love to talk to all these people and just, get more representation out there, and I think it's a good thing. Now, don't get me wrong, this podcast won't just be for girls, it's for everyone, but I think it's just good that we hear some, female voices now and again. And I just want to put it out there. I know I said, if you're a woman or a girl and you play WoW, contact me. If you're a guy or if you identify as a girl, I would still want to talk to you. So don't feel like you can't contact me at all. Anyone has a voice here, so yeah, please feel free to DM me. And with that, I will actually give you all the details of how to reach out to me. Of course, if you want to read the show notes, you can find that on whispersofwar.podbean.com. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at whispers_of_war. Or you can find my personal one, which is at McMonkeys with a Z. And you can email me, whispersofwarpodcast@gmail.com. So yeah, if you're, want to be a guest, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what your background is. If you have something to say about World of Warcraft and you can talk for about 30 minutes at least, then we're good. And of course, you do need a mic. So yeah, that's really it. Thank you guys so much for downloading the show, for listening, and I will hopefully have more game time to be had for the upcoming week, and we'll see how far I get with the Rustbolt Resistance, because it's slow going. But have a wonderful time in Azeroth. Be kind to each other, that's always very important, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye bye.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.